ACB. Our dream is not to play fucking Euro League. Our dream is to play in the fucking National Basketball Association to make millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. This shit, what they doing to us is embarrassing. It's unacceptable.
The argument of which playing style is better, European or American one, has been quite the topic in the basketball world. This past weekend, another chapter was written. Unicaja Malaga, which is, with all due respect to them, a medium-level team in Europe, dominated the G League United in the FIBA Intercontinental Cup and beat them by 15. The game had some extra spice on it. Right before the start, Juan Toscano Anderson, a former NBA champion with the Warriors, told the media that he thinks the G League is the second best league in the world. But is it really? Because after this match, even he probably changed his opinion. Let's see the differences between European and American basketball this match exposed once again, and why Toscano Anderson was wrong.
Getting the steal, Ozakowski drives in, banks it in!
First of all, a disclaimer, this video is not made to diminish one or the other style of play. In my eyes, it is pretty simple. The game has become extremely different on two sides of the ocean. And Unicaja versus G League United was a great example of the two philosophies and how those shape the habits of European and American players. Let's go over the strengths of the G Leaguers first. Of course, the athleticism, and with that I mean speed, jumping, and active hands, stood out in their favor right from the get-go. A couple of denials from receiving the ball here, and later a 1v1 battle between the centers ends up in a blocked skyhook attempt. Trust me, we don't see that in Europe often. 2 minutes later, a mobile center is doing his job once again, now in perimeter. After a switch, we get a great angle to examine this mid-range contest by Rob Baker II. And this is the NBA style of playing. Bigs might be smaller, but they are able to defend on the perimeter. A rare side from Unicaja in the next clip, a straight 1v1 instead of a set play by the Spaniards, and again, the athletic ability to contest this shot as high as the G League does here would stand out in Europe easily. And while in half-court the G League were struggling heavily, fast break and semi-transition were two areas where they were efficient. After Unicaja miss here, 4 guys are running smoothly in transition. 3 guys occupy wings, leaving more space for the ball handler and extending the defense until one of them is wide open for the layup. Offensively, the scheme wasn't fancy or hard to understand. A lot came from 5-out offenses or simply attacking 1v1. Like here, closeout catch, a jab step, and a hard drive gets the job done. Or here, after a missed free throw, everybody is spread out, Unicaja are not closing gaps properly, allowing the higher levels of athleticism and dribbling skills to shine. Also, the value of possession was clear as night and day. And for those who watch NBA and EuroLeague simultaneously, that shouldn't come as a big surprise. Here, the G Leaguers choose a contested after the dribble pull-up jump shot as their first attempt of the quarter, and they swish it. Yeah, it's a great outcome, but is it really a great shot not looking at how it ended? Especially after the timeout, which in Europe usually means a fancy special designed play. It should stun your opponent and generate a high percentage field goal such as a layup or a wide open three. In this game, there were multiple instances where G League United would just dribble the ball up, play a straight up ISO and fail. An additional defender would show up on the way to the rim, making these attempts extremely difficult. Even one baseline out of bounds play ended in one player trying to create and other 4 standing and watching on the other side. In Europe, that's such a rarity because that's not a highly efficient offense unless you are significantly more talented than your opponent. And the Olympics was a great example of that. Team USA, despite gathering all the generational superstars, needed every inch from Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant. But other than that, this type of stuff in FIBA rules don't usually work. Looking on the other side, even more things did not go G League's way defensively. However, the patterns are obvious. The majority of these things you're about to see were problematic for Team USA in last year's World Cup and this year's Olympics. For example, off-ball movement. One-on-one basketball isn't the way to go in Europe. Smaller court, less skilled and slower players asks for different options. And the next clip is a great example of how this fundamental can create high-quality shots. Floppy action does not do much here because the G League's team switch, but Unicaja keep the ball and people moving after this entry pass. High-low cut evolves into a blind pick action with this guard moving without the basketball just enough to create a wide-open attempt. Later, it's another post-up that gets double-teamed. Everything seems under control until the closest man is caught ball-watching and his man utilizes that fully to his advantage. And I would say ball-watching on defense is one of the biggest problems in American basketball, but we'll get into the details a bit later. Here is another off-ball scheme the Spaniards ran a lot in this game and I absolutely loved it. After this guard-to-guard action, a flare screen follows, but Kalinowski recognizes that his defender is cheating going under, so he comes back instantly, getting a great look just off of that. Another huge problem that is widely connected to ball watching on defense is defensive rebounding, or the offensive rebounding for the opponent. Europeans destroyed their opponents with second chances and got those just because nobody were boxing them out. And here's a reminder for you. Last year in the World Cup, there were instances where Team USA allowed 23 and 18 second chance opportunities for their opponents in subsequent matches. This next example speaks louder than 1,000 words. A great defensive possession by the United is followed by a terrible box-out execution. As the shot is in the air, watch this. Two guys are completely ball-watching only, not bumping anyone. Tominaga is trying to do so, but he forgets to stick to the play after the ball gets tipped, and one of the smallest guys on the entire court gets the ball and scores from under the rim. It went on and on throughout the night. The physicality was not there, as it was another clear proof this basic European fundamental is not prioritized enough back in the States. It's not all about the wingspan and jumping ability in basketball after all. That last clip was also the reason Toscano Anderson decided to speak up and try to motivate his teammates by using this wording.
We all are better than this shit. Our dream is not to play fucking ACB. Our dream is not to play fucking EuroLeague. Our dream is to play in the fucking National Basketball Association to make millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. This shit, what they doing to us is embarrassing. It's unacceptable.
Okay, last but not least, the G League United was a little bit stunned by this one particular defensive pick-and-roll coverage which has vanished from the NBA in the recent years. After the halftime, Unicaja decided to hedge some of the two-man action their opponents were running. Watch the big here make two aggressive steps towards the ball handler, forcing him to retract. His rolling teammate is open for a split second, but this pass is late and it leads to a turnover which Unicaja quickly convert to points. Hedging is a very popular concept in Europe against the best perimeter players. However, the size of an NBA court and everybody making three-point shots made it almost unusable in today's league. Players are simply not used to it anymore, thus making it harder for the G League United to punish this coverage, for example here, with a short roll pass creating a 4v3 situation. Now all of this created a sequence of two straight possessions in the third quarter where the short roll is open right there, but the guards just don't know how to beat this defense with one pass, giving time for the low man to come back towards his own man and steal this. Yes, this tournament served as a preseason for both teams. But this game once again was a clear example of how the two games of basketball are going into two very different paths. I'm not saying one or the other is better. It's always fun to compare the two when we have the chance. But here I'm interested in your opinions. Why do you think we have such a difference, and would you agree if we aligned all the rules for all the leagues? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one.